And I'll just leave that to you. Where do you think we stand right now?
Well, we stand at a place that is the reality of an unprecedented pandemic and some unfortunate policies that are in place that we have to remove if we're going to see folks transition off of unemployment, for example, to the payroll and back to full employment. Now, we're in my district in West Texas, 29 counties, folks who are part of the 30+ million people on unemployment, 75% of them in West Texas are being paid more on unemployment than in their previous job. So that's just one example of a major barrier to getting folks back to work and into the marketplace. Obviously, it's not as simple as that. There are obviously needs for temporary and targeted relief, both on the family and individual front, also for certain businesses that were not able to take advantage of PPP and leverage that liquidity. But it's not, I don't believe it's trillions of dollars. I don't even believe it's $1 trillion, but there's certainly some need there for temporary assistance and relief. But these barriers, and I'd add legal liability as another issue that we've got to address if we're going to see wholesale our economy coming back and accelerate the recovery, so we stave off the long-term adverse impact that could be far worse than even the pandemic itself.
Congressman, do you still support the stimulus check?
You know, I didn't really support that in the initial phase, but I will tell you, I would prefer where it's needed the most, if we could target those that need it the most.
So lower income, you would go on lower income?
I'd say middle to lower, where it's needed the most.
Okay.
I would rather do that than I would to provide more plus up on the unemployment insurance, where we have disincentivized people going back to work, for sure.
So would you be willing to give the extended unemployment, or do you think that should stop right here? Because it stops, what, tomorrow anyway?
Yeah, I would stop the extension of unemployment insurance, and I would use either direct assistance in a targeted way. I would use payroll tax holiday and other tax breaks and incentives. I would not continue, again, to block people and to give them the rational choice to stay on unemployment as opposed to getting back to work. That's best for their family. It's best for our economy.
Yeah, we've got a $1 trillion package from the GOP, $3 trillion from the Dems in the House. And I'm not saying those are in concrete at all. So what I want to ask you, because you're so far apart, do you think there are more and more Republicans where you are now and less willing to compromise, meaning this may not get done right away?
I think the majority of our conference wants to help where the cracks are, where the gaps are. But here's the problem. We have billions of dollars that still haven't been spent. If you look at the city and state relief fund, that $150 billion, only 25% of that has been spent. If you look at schools, which is another item that's being talked about, school relief, of the $13 billion, only 1% has been spent. So, my colleagues like me are not anxious to spend any more money unless we've identified something that with targeted relief.
You know what it seems, Congressman, you're making a lot of sense, and I think a lot of people also are looking at this national debt we're racking up. It's just astounding, the kind of numbers we're talking about. But then you get the argument on the other side, oh, people are hurting and they need help, and you know that's true too. How do you define who needs the help? Can you get the Democrats at least to agree on that so you could come together?
Well, we know that there are some industries that have had a lag, whether it's because of the drop in the bottom of the price of oil, or it's these hotel and restaurant industries. So there are some that we all agree need a little extra help.
Do you think you're going to get a deal? Do you think there's going to be a deal?
Where they are right now, I'd be hard-pressed to say they will, but I'd say the biggest challenge for Republicans is that unemployment insurance. If that stays in the mix in any meaningful way as a barrier, I can't see the majority of Republicans getting excited
so
about
what would
this.
they be willing to go for? $100 a week, $200 a week, or less than that?
Listen, I think it's not about providing assistance. I think many would say cash assistance. They would be.
It's who gets it. It's who gets it.
It's not even who, it's how you do it, because if you do it through unemployment insurance and you plus it up over with the state, we're not saying take it down, but if you go back and normalize it the way it was pre-COVID, provide the assistance through payroll tax breaks, provide it through direct assistance.
But that assumes somebody's working. That's the argument.
That's the argument.
Yeah.
That's the argument.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I hope you see, my theory is, my wife's from Texas also, so I think that you will come to an agreement, because people can't handle the summer in Washington, because it's almost as hot as West Texas.
It is very swampy, I will say, in Washington,
it is swampy,
for sure.
On many levels.
on all levels, and in the worst of ways.
Yes, I know. Well, I hope you're able to work things out, and I hope it makes sense to everybody at the end. Congressman, thank you for joining us, sir. All right, we're going to have more of American Agenda after this.